Hello again, everybody. This is John with Best Price Nutrition, and I have Christy with New Chapter with us today. Today we're going to talk about the New Chapter's Supercritical Holy Basil. Now, a lot of people have heard of Holy Basil. It's kind of been out for a little while, but there's been some interesting research on it in terms of its positive effects as an adaptogen for stress. Can you want to touch on that a little bit? And also tell us a little bit about what makes New Chapter's Holy Basil unique compared to others on the market.
Yes, absolutely. So Holy Basil is a great one to talk about with our supercritical extraction process. But first I'll talk about exactly what it is about Holy Basil that's addressing stress. And that is that when you have this supercritical extract, which we'll touch on, it actually helps balance cortisol. And cortisol is really one of your major stress hormones. You know, it's a fight or flight hormone that should not be surging through the body all the time, but in our modern lifestyles, as we're doing a lot, we're busy all the time, we're not sleeping right, eating right, we tend to have higher levels of cortisol surging in our body all the time, and it causes stress, and eventually that will start to break down the body physically. So having the supercritical extract of the Holy Basil is actually shown to help balance and lower that cholesterol. So supercritical extract, what does that mean?
Yeah,
right?
That's always the question. We always hear that.
And
like, is it an adjective, or what does it really mean?
It's really it's technology is what it is, and it's an extraction process that allows us to extract the fat-soluble compounds of the herb without using chemicals.
Okay.
So typically, in order to get the fat-soluble compounds out of an herbal, people will use things like acetone and hexane, which is nail polish remover and dry clean fluid.
Sure.
Don't want those in the herbs, right? Especially when you're certified organic. So we have this technology which basically uses recycled carbon dioxide to pull out the fat-soluble compounds. So we really say when you see supercritical on a New Chapter product, it means that the herbal is super potent, super pure, and broad spectrum. So super potent because the extraction process really concentrates the herbals.
Okay.
It often takes 250 pounds of the raw organic herb to create a pound of our supercritical extract. Super pure, remember we didn't use any of those chemicals to extract the compounds. And broad spectrum, it's kind of what we've talked about in New Chapter in general, doing this whole food nutrition and all these thousands of phytonutrients that have benefits. So you're getting both the water-soluble compounds and fat-soluble compounds in the herb. It's a whole herb. So that's supercritical extract. And in the case of Holy Basil, it's really imperative for this herb to do its job, to relieve stress, to have those fat-soluble compounds. And that's why people who have maybe tried a Tulsi tea or just a typical Holy Basil on the market don't find that it helps their stress levels that much. Well, the reason is they weren't getting the part of the herb that actually lowers the cortisol. And that's what makes the supercritical Holy Basil so special.
Okay, so New Chapter has a very unique way of isolating the actual active compound within a herb, because sometimes people think herbs and they don't know the difference between an extract and taking the whole herb. And like you said, you're talking about a 1 to 250 ratio in terms of 1 pound you're getting from every 250 pounds of the actual plant.
So very therapeutic.
Gotcha. So you're getting a very concentrated source without all the chemicals that are going to possibly denature the active
and
compounds.
you still are going to get the water-soluble compounds, which are really important for addressing inflammation in the body. So you are getting this whole herb, but if you're reaching to this product for stress support, you really want to know that you're getting the parts of the herb that are actually going to address the stress.
And it's blocking cortisol specifically?
It's helping balancing the cortisol. Okay. So an additional benefit to that, we've talked about these whole food products having side benefits. Besides lowering your stress, you're lowering that cortisol. So what does that mean? Cortisol is one of those things that makes people gain weight around the middle. Yep. So by taking this Holy Basil, this supercritical extract, you can actually find that you can lose weight around the middle as you're lowering those levels of cortisol. On top of that, the supercritical Holy Basil has the ability to uplift the mood and elevate the spirits. You're getting a lot of nice additional benefits besides reducing your stress.
So it can make you feel good. You get levels of feel-good benefit. And now, does it affect neurotransmitters, or do you know what the mechanism is that it does? How does it make you feel better, or is it just related to cortisol? If you're depleting cortisol, the stress hormone, I assume that in and of itself is what's making you feel better?
Yeah, most of the Holy Basil has to do with the cortisol. Cortisol has a really systemic impact on the body. We just don't realize it. But it's also just part of the herb Holy Basil, and that's, I think, what you were looking at, seeing that it's one of the most traditionally used Ayurvedic herbs. That is the nature of this herb. It just has the ability to uplift the spirit, to uplift the mood. So a great side benefit, and I imagine if you're feeling particularly stressed, that does impact your mood as well.
Gotcha.
So it's one of the inherent qualities in this herb on its own right.
And one of the things with Holy Basil that it's been out for a while, and it seems to have staying power, because a few years ago, those of who've kind of followed the industry, there was Quart Block, there were all these cortisol based. I mean, it even hit the sports supplement industry. It was in the vitamin side where everyone had some kind of cortisol blocking agent or some sort of a product. You know, if you turned on your TV, there was somebody talking about it. Whereas Holy Basil has lasted the whole time, and the sales have remained constant with it. So, assuming that, as you discussed,
Yes.
it actually is able to have an effect on cortisol.
A really safe, traditionally used herb, and the difference here with the Supercritical Holy Basil is you are getting the potency to get therapeutic results.
And it is a hexane-free soft gel capsule.
Yep.
Hexane-free, you mentioned, because
No chemical solvents used in the extraction process, so it's a win-win of a situation.
Okay. Well, if anyone has any questions, please feel free to post them in the comments of the video or on the blog. We'll be happy to answer them. Thank you.